Good morning. Back in another beautiful day here in the UK. And yes, I'm an Everton fan. Sorry. My dad will never forgive me for that. So today I want to talk to you about limiting beliefs. And I want to try and break this down and make it really simple for you to understand, so that you can begin to understand how certain beliefs that you have about yourself may be stopping you from making the amount of money you want. Got sun cream in my eyes. Making the amount of money you want, building the type of success that you want in your business, getting the girl that you want, having the existing relationships that you really want, having the body and achieving your potential and having the things that you really want in life. Confidence, fulfillment, happiness, joy, significance, feeling like you're good enough. All of these are accessible and they're all possible, and I'm walking proof of that is possible. Am I there? No. I'm taking the steps and I'm on the way to actually get there. So I want to make this like really simple so it's easy for you to understand. So just imagine that when you're born, so just play with me here, when you're born, you're like a blank canvas. You have no reference point, you have no idea what religion is, you have no idea what your favourite music is, you have no idea what the rules of society are. And to put this in geek terms, you're like a basic operating system. So on a computer we have a basic operating system, something like Windows, or on a Mac we might have, don't even know what they're like, Yosemite. There's all kinds of things. I know I'm on the latest one, I don't know what it is. Don't pay much attention to it, to be honest. We have this very basic operating system. And what tends to happen, and it's the same for a mobile phone, we've got this foundation to build on and to build our lives around. And what happens is we start to install programs. And these programs might be on a phone, for example, something like Facebook, something like Instagram. We start to explore what these applications, what these programs are, and bringing it back to Windows or a Mac, we install video editing software as the demands of life get bigger and we need more in our business. We install Microsoft Word or Office to allow us to cope and live with our life. And the reason we do this is because what happens is that we become a product of one of two things. We become a product of our environment. So the two most trusted people in the world, and you might not trust them now, but they are the people that you trust because they're the first people you see, they're your primary caregivers, or your mum and dad. So anything they say, anything they do, so they lead by example, you begin to mimic. And as you mimic, you start to take on these behaviors and these beliefs about the world. And they might tell you you're a Christian, they might tell you you're a Muslim, might tell you you're a Buddhist, they might not believe in God at all. They might tell you that money doesn't grow on trees. They might tell you that you have to work hard in order to be successful. They might tell you a bunch of other things. And because you have no reference point, because you're a clean slate, and the way that the child mind works is it takes everything literally. And so it must be true because they said it. Because you don't have the logical brain that thinks for yourself at this very early age, 0 to 6 years of age, really starts to develop from about the age of 6 onwards. That's why kids become a bit of a pain in the ass and start talking back to you, and start challenging you, and they're more difficult as they go through that phase. So the first thing we have is our parents as a reference. And we develop these programs, we add these programs to our operating system and these apps to allow us to live life and work with life, because that's the only way the mind knows how to. It's trying to actually make it through life and survive every day. And that's what it's programmed to do, the unconscious. Now, the other thing that impacts us is the events of our lives. So the events of our lives and the experiences we have ultimately shape us. And the reason they shape us along with our experiences is because as human beings, we apply meaning to everything. So to give you a very simple example, have you ever received a text message and looked at it and gone, what the fuck? And then you've applied meaning to it, you've probably got pissed off or been offended by it or something like that. And then you spoke to the person and they didn't mean that at all because there was no context. But the way in which you interpreted that through your view of the world, it gets filtered through your beliefs. It's a bit like a ping pong ball. You started to apply meaning to it. And as you applied meaning to it, and you said, that must mean A did this, so that must mean B. Simple math. What happens is we start to create our own beliefs of the world. So instead of taking on just our parents' beliefs, because those are just ideas that are planted in our mind about how we should live our life, we should follow the rules, we should go to school, go to college, go to university, have a long miserable career, and then retire and then die. Those are just ideas that are planted in your mind. But through your own experiences, you start to create your own interpretations of the world. You apply your own meaning and you create your own beliefs about the world. And for me, one of my biggest beliefs, and you've heard about me say it over and over and over again, is the belief that everybody's going to leave me, everybody's going to abandon me, and I'm going to be alone if I don't be something I'm not, if I don't get approval, if I'm not liked by everyone. And the other belief that I had was, I don't believe I'm good enough. And those type of beliefs are terrible for business, because when you're trying to charge thousands of pounds for a coaching package, you get that imposter syndrome. That imposter syndrome when you're on the phone with a potential client and you know it's value to them. You know on a logical level that it's value to them. But that little child within you, that little belief, raises its ugly head and says, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not worth 6, 7, 8 grand. You're not good enough. And so what happens is we then start self-sabotaging and we fuck it up for ourselves. And limiting beliefs are created because in moments of our lives, when events happen, when we apply meaning to things, we make a decision. We make a decision about what that event must mean about us. And because the mind's very literal, egotistical, or egocentric at an early age, we make it very personal. And the child inside of us, the boy inside of us goes, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. And we carry that into our life. And while our adult body grows and develops, our internal psyche doesn't, in a sense of the child never really grows up. So what we end up having is a man's body with a boy's mind. And what we really need to show up for us as men in order to break through these limiting beliefs is we need the man to show up and show the boy that it's okay. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault that they got a divorce. They do love you. You just made that up. It's not true. And so we have to debunk these beliefs that we have that limit us and stop us from creating the life that we really want. And once we become aware of them and we can start to break these down and see them as just a made up story, we start to realize that we are worthy of love. We are good enough. We can create the amount of money that we really want in our lives. We can have it all. Anybody who says that you can't is running their own belief systems based on their past experiences and based on beliefs that are planted in their idea. Learn to challenge the way you see the world, because you are running outdated software. The applications on your phone need updating, because the way you're currently seeing the world is not conducive to creating the type of life that you really want. So we have to become aware of them. The first step, become aware of our beliefs. Second thing, learn to challenge and distinguish between what is a fact and what is a story that we've made up about ourselves. And third thing, we need to step into a new version of us. And there's obviously other techniques that you can use, but if you have a belief that money, you're not worthy of a certain amount of money, then you need to get to a point where you face your anxiety and you challenge that belief. And the more you challenge it, the more you step into it, the more you repeat that process, that belief loses strength. And you start to believe, actually, people are paying me this money and I am delivering fantastic results and I am worthy of a certain level of success and worthy of creating a type of life and business, if you're in a business, that I really want. It's the limiting beliefs. So what is it that you believe that's limiting your ability to create an extraordinary life for yourself? Anytime you're facing resistance, pay attention. There's something in that. So just notice it.